I got it. The hidden value of complainers.
Welcome to What the Biz, where we talk about building successful businesses, balancing life, and all the WTB in between. With your hosts,
I'm Bridget Vector.
And I'm Dan Prochko. Hey, I got out of the office this week and went to a networking event. Yeah, no, I went to a networking event this week. I think first one in maybe almost 3 months, maybe 3 months, honestly. I've been kind of slacking and not going anywhere, but I made it out.
Dan on the tone.
I know. I want to use the phrase like mingled with some strange, but I think that has some other connotations that doesn't fit this context. Went out. It was at a distillery. Really good spirits, not gonna lie. I was quite impressed for like a local small distiller. Nice. Pretty impressed in that way. I want to say there was about 60, maybe 50 people. Yeah, somewhere around 50 people were there. Tons of new faces I'd not seen. Yeah, no, it was a pretty good event for a local event. And it's funny because if anybody listening knows, like, our clients aren't really local. So, a lot of thinking is like, well, why do you go? It's like, well, you don't know who people know, after a while, what happens in town changes and you want to stay on top of things. I like knowing what goes on in my town, especially business wise. So it was good. It was good to go.
It's awesome. I know. I need to get back into the marketing and networking scene. Just haven't done it. Our clients, like, same thing with you, right? Our clients are they're all over, and we're leaning more into that space. So we'll see. We'll see what 2025 brings. If I go back to
I tried something new. I tried something new at the event. Usually when I go, it's all about like getting that sales meeting. Of like finding the one or two people, having not even a sales meeting, an intro meeting, because like really doing a whole introduction at a networking event when you got 50 people running around, just not conducive. And then it's loud, and then you get that one random person gets distracted when you're mid-sentence and they look away from you and you're just like, what? It's well, I got that meeting scheduled, but the thing that I tried is because we're doing so much more marketing pieces, we've got, our monthly webinars, we've got some other surveys and pieces going on, et cetera. I started talking with people about those things, and they were like, wait, what? You do free coaching in that way? It's just like, yeah, here's my card. Go to the website, check it out. It's free. And, I got their cards. And so since we had that conversation, that gives me a whole way to reach back out and promote those things. Again, like, hey, it was great to meet you and learn about XYZ. I know we talked about this. Here's the link. If you forgot, go check it out. And so it's just another way to expand influence and create a larger list. And so I tried something new, and it was really well
received. Thank
you.
You're welcome.
I forget words.
I was just filling in that blank where I knew you were going. No, that's awesome.
The show is. It's Mad Libs. That's all the show is. It's Mad Libs. One of us stops, the other one fills it in.
Episode? Oh my! I think
that'd be so much fun. I'm gonna look something up, and we're gonna do like a Mad Lib episode of something and see if we can. It probably won't make any sense, but we'll find out.
I don't know. Sometimes we can be on the same wavelength, so it might be really good. Yeah. And then we'll just have to turn this into that. But I love that idea. Like, listeners should probably take that idea and run with it, because sometimes the follow-up is very hard, but the fortune is there. Like, that is where you get the value, and just having that piece. Like, hey, don't forget, come check me out. I'm hosting my webinar. Like, it was great to meet you. Blah, blah, blah. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it gave me something to talk about too. It's just like, hey, do you like webinars or do you get a lot of your customers in a local area, which is kind of redundant of a question. It's a softball one for them to say yes, I guess. But yeah, no, that went well. But speaking of things that are hard to do, holiday seasons is here. It's not like about to be here. It's here. Hardcore. And that comes with a lot more foot traffic, a lot more business, honestly. People are in spending mode, and can lead to a lot more reviews. Not always positive. And so just wanted to talk about things that are going on with reviews right now, because there have been some rule changes. We talked about those a couple episodes ago about Google and how they changed what they're doing regarding fake reviews or purchased reviews, and how they're trying to identify that and police that. That'd be episode 49 if you want to go back and check that out. But I know we've talked about reviews a bit. You and I need to do better, but I've been getting some reviews recently, and it's like, yeah, so it works. Asking for them. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm going to go, this is not going to be advice. This is like one of my favorite things to do, actually, is go read a company's reviews and go right to the 1 stars. Not because I want to see how bad a company is, but because there is some comedy gold in there. Just the way people complain is hilarious. I don't know if you get joy out of that in some way, but I don't really hold it against the company, because I'm one that I'll read all the different reviews, and usually you can tell things are skewed or in a weird way, but some of those low star reviews are hilarious.
So this actually reminds me of a local company that does this. So the owner will actually go and post the really horrible reviews and his response to it. Like, that's his way to kind of like own it in a way. He can like say how he either rectified the situation if it really was their bad, or completely call out the person in a very respectful way, but in a way that it's like, good for you for sticking up for your employees or your business. And I can tell you, I look forward to, not that he gets many, but those random ones where you're like, wow, I can't believe that person actually wrote that review, because it really has nothing to do with, and that's probably where you're going with the 1 stars you see.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You can tell that person's got a chip on their shoulder. Something else happened in their life that is just messing with their mojo that day, or for whatever happened. And it's nothing to do with the business. Yes. Those are my favorite, because it's like somebody's living in a totally different universe. But what it does do is it makes it really difficult for owners and team members to reply to those emails. And really understand, what do I do with this? So I just got a horrible review, or I got a great review. And we all know that, well, maybe we don't, but Google has set down one of the benchmarks by which they score a company and how well they should be shown and everything, is how engaged they are with those reviews. So replying to every review is really, really important. So dealing with negative reviews is something everybody's going to have to do. I think I just did a webinar on local SEO. So I've got like a lot of this top of mind right now. And I think a good place to start would be like, what makes a perfect review? Because from there, we can then find out these are the things that should be included in our replies if they're missing. How does that sound? I think that sounds like a good place. Yeah.
I think it's a great place. Okay.
So the perfect review can be summed up in, so if you ask for reviews from your customers, these are the things that should be in your review. The first thing that should be in there is the problem that they need solved. I think that's pretty obvious. It's the whole reason they came to you. I mean, even if they purchased the product, the reason they purchased it is because the previous thing they had broke. They didn't have one. They needed one, et cetera. There's some reason, that they hired you or bought from you. The second piece that should be in the review is the customer experience with your team. And that should be in regards to the communication with your team. So what was it like communicating with your team? Were you responsive? Were you not? Was it an easy engagement? Did it take multiple tries, et cetera? That should be in the review. The third piece is, what's the outcome? Was the problem actually solved? And then the last two pieces are, if the customer worked with any of your employees, the customer should name them. And then the last piece is any photos of, the product, the experience, whatever, that should be part of the review as well. So those 6 pieces, really quickly: problem solved, experience and communication, outcome, names of employees, and photos. Those 6 pieces make up a perfect review. Any of that surprise you in any way?
So the one that I wouldn't have thought of is naming out the employees, to be honest. Hugely valuable though, but not something that would be top of mind for me. Problem solved seems like it's very, that should be like top of mind, but I don't think it always is. It's more just like, hey, they're great to work with, but no explanation of what they actually solved. And hello, like 101 in business is you have to sell the solution. That's literally why people are buying. So I love that is actually part of a perfect review. Just not thought of.
Yeah. So if every one of your reviews had these 6 things, you would be ranked so high in search. Like honestly, if every person talked about these things, you'd be ranked so high, even if they were 1-star reviews. Here's what's funny. Here's what people don't like, what even I didn't understand for a long time, is that the rating of your review is sort of irrelevant. What matters most is the context of the review, because what Google and what search engines are actually looking for is relevancy and prominence, which is, so prominence is like, how many reviews do you have? Like, how well are you trafficked? How many people work with you? Okay. So if you get 1,000 1-star reviews and your competitor gets 1 5-star review, what that shows is more people are willing to work with you than they are with the other, regardless of the review your company gets. There's something about the quality of your work that you get more business regardless of the rating.
Interesting.
Isn't that crazy? So no, don't get me wrong. The rating matters in sense of customer trust. If you really only have 1-star reviews, nobody's working with you, to be honest. Okay. So you still have to do quality work and get high-star reviews. But if there really was a world where you had super high quality and someone had horrible quality, even if they got 5 stars, you'd still show up higher with 1-star reviews because of that volume of business that you get that is inherent of getting that many reviews. Okay. The second piece I talked about was, what did I say? Relevance. And that has to do with the velocity or speed at which you get reviews. How often do you get reviews? So the more often you get reviews, the more relevant your company is, because what that shows is that you consistently get new customers. It's not like you had a burst 10 years ago of hundreds of customers and recently you had none. So companies who get reviews more often are seen as higher relevance. And so if you can consistently get reviews and you have a ton of them, you will always rank higher than a lot of other people. So then comes the piece around the stars and why those matter. Okay. So the third piece here is your visibility. So we all know that everybody's looking to work with the best or the top company. And so when you use those types of terms in a search, like best bookkeeper or best marketer in a certain area, only companies with 4 stars or higher as their average rating will appear in those searches. So even though you may have more prominence or relevance, if your score is so low, you don't show up in as many searches because there's a whole ton of search terms out there that people use around that. So all of that makes up how reviews help you and what makes a perfect review.
So is there such a thing though? Because you said relevance and how frequently you're getting them. And this may be a myth, so you can dispel it. I have heard that there is a downfall from too many consecutive, like that it might get triggered as like a, I don't want to call it a bot, but maybe. So is there a downfall from too many at one time?
Yeah, there can be. And that comes from doing, say, what Google doesn't want is for there to be manufactured demand or manufactured response rates, etc. So when you do a big push of sending out, say you wait to the end of every month and you send out an email, and then you get 100 reviews all at once, but then you get none. Then you do it again. It looks suspicious because who actually delivers their service or products in that way, where they deliver everything within a couple days at the end of the month? Nobody. So that looks really suspicious. So Google now wonders, are you paying for these? Like you said, Bridget, are they bots? Are they from overseas? Just people, random accounts, etc. And so it is good practice. And that's why relevance exists. Okay. Where you need to have reviews coming in consistently over time rather than all in bunches. Because if you only get them once a month, somebody getting them every day or every other day is still going to rank higher than you, because they get the reviews, even though they're lower in quantity, they get the reviews more often in time. Okay. So you're exactly right. Google pretty much sees them as bots. And it can, and because of the relevance piece, it's good to spread them out. So it's really good practice to just ask for the review when you're done with the service, or, after the purchase. That's why a couple days after any purchase, whether it be Amazon or some e-commerce, you usually get an email of, hey, how was your experience? Want to give us some stars? Do you like that product? Is your kid still playing with that toy? Et cetera. It's like that. So
got it.
Yeah. So those are the pieces that kind of lead to how reviews help you. And I think also then signal to us what we need to reply with, whether it's a negative or positive review, So as we get reviews, we know the structure of the perfect review, those 6 items. If any of that is missing in a customer's review, we need to add that in as a owner to the reply.
I was going to ask, how do you guide
now it clicked. Yeah,
it clicked.
Yeah. So because if you think about reviews, it's user-generated content. It's no different than a TikTok reel. Or sorry, I said TikTok reel. I put 2 different platforms together. I'm showing my age. So it's no different than a TikTok short, a YouTube short, or a reel, or a post on Facebook from somebody using the product. It's somebody telling the world about their experience with you. So it's considered user-generated content. And so when it misses any of these bullets, from talking about the problem solved or any employees that were part of it, photos or outcome, the fact that we have the opportunity and the ability to reply and add that context is huge. And the connection that search engines make between the reply and the original review is super strong. It's actually a metric that Google uses that I said before, how quickly do you reply and what do you reply with? Like, that has strength and value as it relates to search. So if you get a review that only talks about, oh man, they were great to work with, replying with, oh yeah, Janet, who helped you, create the package, and then Don, who worked on your window, we're really happy to work with you. And, our windows are triple glazed, so we know you're going to see a reduction in your energy bills. Thanks so much for working with us. Like, putting that in there is really, really huge. I mean, even talking about location, where do these people live? Where was this service delivered is really important. That helps with local SEO. So, I mean, most local businesses service a 20, 30 mile, radius. Some go further, but let's just say within that are boroughs or even suburbs or multiple cities. Talking about the city that the service was delivered in helps with your local SEO. So yeah, I think those 6 pieces, whether it's a negative or positive review, making sure we talk about those. I think that's like part 1 as it relates to replying to reviews.
So as you were talking, through that summary, my mind instantly went to the amount of times that we talk about the whole do it yourself. And I was like, oh my gosh, as a business owner, am I going to take on or have the capacity on my plate to make sure that these are responded to timely? And my brain instantly wrote in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, you write a process for a VA and you train them how to talk and make sure that they're hitting all these points. You can make sure it's getting done and maybe not be the one doing it, but just say, oh yeah, this is how we respond to reviews. Yeah. And then you're going to make sure you're getting the value, right? If somebody's taking the time to leave you a review, especially a good one, and you're not capitalizing on the secondary value of responding and what that does for your rankings in Google, you're missing a huge opportunity, because huge. People are busy. The fact they took the time to write you that review is already huge. So capitalize on it when you can. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's really cool about the platforms that exist for reputation management, there's quite a few of them, and we help our clients with those, setting them up so their team can manage everything. They're really cool. They bring all the reviews from all the various platforms into one place. So you can monitor, say, 60 to 100 different platforms where people could leave a review. They bring them all into one place, and you can reply to all of them in that one place. So you don't have to log into multiple places, which is really, really cool. And those platforms do other things, but so we know how to reply to reviews in terms of what information should be there, but we didn't touch on, negative reviews. And we've had to deal with this quite a bit. And the number one tip is don't poke the troll. Okay. Like, just don't do that. Okay. They're going to reply. And the fact that you reply is kind of baiting the troll to reply back, but you don't want to feed it any more than once. Okay. But your reply to a negative review is really an opportunity. That's how I see it. You have somebody who had a bad experience. Okay. And you have the opportunity to delight them again. Okay. You may not have been able to do it the first time, and that totally sucks. Okay. Not intended. No business owner intends to screw up somebody's day or situation. We know mistakes happen, but that review is an opportunity now to reply and to be empathetic, to also not to just give in. Okay. We don't do that either on reviews because there are trolls out there, but you do state the truth, and you state your one perspective is really what it is. I say truth. It is a perspective. Okay. But you state your perspective of here's what we did with you. Here's the communication we had. Okay. And here's what we offered. Okay. And if you state all of that and just lay that out, that's usually enough to give enough context around a situation for others to understand what was going on. Okay. And to show that you care enough to rectify a situation. And if the customer agreed to it, you can update your reply and say, thank you for agreeing and allowing us to rectify it. Or if they didn't, stating you decided not to move forward, we're sorry we couldn't. We really would look forward to helping you again in the future, and just be done. It's if you don't show that and you don't make that step of rectifying, what ends up happening is that people could believe that you're just out there and don't care. And so you just do shoddy work. And when it's bad, who cares? So you definitely want to make sure you be empathetic. You identify the feeling someone is feeling, and then you explain, here's what we're willing to do and what we did for you. And if there's an outcome already, state that as well. And that's where you end it. If they reply back, you just ignore it at that point. You did your piece. You're not trying to hash it out in public. You want them to call you to actually allow you to come out and fix a situation so that it is what the customer expected and to the quality that you can do. Beyond that, we don't have to have arguments online.
And I think you made a great point. Don't ignore the negative reviews, because that actually does more damage in most circumstances. And if you can respond, but if you can take that conversation online, I think we are in an age where a lot of people are used to communicating through computer and email and, the review text or having a text message. If you have their phone number, pick up the phone and actually have a conversation so that you can rectify it, to do the right thing. If it is something that you can do. I also want to mention, because this is the age old, a lot of times, especially if it is an unfounded negative review, your first response is probably not the best response. So use that 24-hour pause, that we've all been taught to use when responding an email or whatever. Use it for reviews. I understand there's something for timeliness, but make sure you take your pause for a minute and actually respond in the way that you want to respond. And I don't know if you were going to touch on this, but I think it's also a really great learning opportunity, because when you can grow from something and learn from that negative review and make the improvements, they actually kind of did you a courtesy, because some customers might be very upset, but never tell you, never leave a review, never communicate it, and you don't get the opportunity to make it right and fix whatever was broken inside your business. So learn to maybe love some of the negative that comes your way.
It's so true. It's so true. I mean, most people won't leave a review. Most people will say they're always willing to leave a review, but they actually don't. And really, it's only when it's a lot of, we hear a lot of people complain a lot on social about brands, etc. What's funny though, is when you look at reviews, most of the reviews are positive for most businesses. So what that tells me is that while there's a lot of complaining, in certain spheres, most people are really willing to give positive reviews and really believe that good things are happening, which means that we're probably not asking enough. And so when we do get that negative review, it totally sucks. It totally sucks. But it's better to get that review because that's somebody who's, like you said, doing a thing, hopefully they're doing it in a good spirit of like, hey, I did have this experience, etc. That then allows the company to learn. I'm so with you there, and we need to embrace those things because it may be something we overlooked. It may be something we didn't even know was a problem, Yeah. Yeah.
So the book, and I'm going to drop it now because we're talking about the negative side. The book that comes to mind for me with this is The Hidden Value of Complainers. And I really like to spin like the negative review, not so much as a threat, but you literally just got free customer research dropped right to you. And so that whole learning component, this is an amazing book. If you haven't read it, it kind of puts a spin on the complainers that we sometimes find in our world and, how to actually make it a better thing than a negative thing in your own mind. So.
Cool. I think that's pretty good right there. We talked about what makes a perfect review, what to do, not to do, how to ask for reviews, and then how to reply both to positive and negative reviews. So I think as this holiday hits, keep all that in mind and do your best to reply, usually within the 24 hours. But that does mean you do get a night to sleep on it. So don't be emotional. I really like that one. There's so many times where like I've seen reviews and I'm just like, what are you freaking thinking? Like, what? No, this is what happened. You threw this across the room, stuff. But anyway, yeah.
Oh, the world of reviews. What do they call some of those people? The keyboard trolls.
Yeah. Exactly. So, Christmas is like a week away. So what are you doing? You got anything going on?
So my in-laws will be here from Arizona. So my daughter and I actually got to see them when we were out there, a few weeks ago. She tagged along for the conference that I went to and got to spend some quality time with her grandparents. And now they're back here, for a little while. So all family is local, which is really nice. And, we love spending the holidays with family. So lots of good food, lots of fun. Lots of board games. What about you?
So for us, I've got some pretty big plans with the family in Chicago. So we do a Ukrainian Christmas on Christmas Eve, which is the traditional way to celebrate it. And then with my other side of the family on Christmas Day. Both sides are Ukrainian, but one side has more Ukrainians than the other. So one side doesn't do it, et cetera. It's like that. So,
gotcha.
So yeah, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Good.
So I'm really enjoying it. Yeah. But looking forward, our next two episodes are actually pretty cool. I kind of want to talk about them here and kind of tee them up so that everybody can make an appointment to come tune in. So like next week is Christmas Eve when an episode is supposed to drop, and we are going to drop one. I know a lot of podcasts are going to take that off, but we decided, you know what? Let's do this. Let's give a gift this year. And so we are having some fun next week, sharing our predictions for 2025. Like, what do we think is going to happen with small business? I know we just had an election. I don't know if it's going to get political. We'll see what happens. Okay. We're each going to come with 3 predictions. So there's going to be 6 in total. And then what's cool is throughout the year, we can see whether any of them actually come true. And at the end of next year, we can actually go back and reflect and see whether or not we're good prognosticators or not. I'm probably going to get it all wrong. So we'll see. But we're each going to come with 3 predictions and we'll see. Maybe we'll have some same ones, but I'm excited for it. I think that's going to be cool.
Yeah, I will be excited to see if we got it right or not. I also don't have high hopes for myself, but we both know our industry is pretty good. So we We might get it. We might get it.
We might get it. Yeah, we might get it. And then after that, on New Year's Eve, okay, we are also going to throw in another episode here where we're going to share some of our goals and kind of how we went about setting them for the next year. So we can share a bit about where our companies are at and how to be in a healthy mindset about hitting or not hitting your goals. I know that's kind of a big one because everybody wants to be someplace bigger or what they think is better. Grass is always greener, etc. And it's really easy to get stuck in a kind of a spiral of negativity sometimes. And so we want to stay positive. We really believe that every business is kind of where they're supposed to be and it's all incremental. So we're going to share a bit about how we do that in our mindset and what our goals are for next year. So you got 2 episodes over the next 2 weeks to look forward to. And we hope you tune into those because we love having you here.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Yeah. Yep. Cool. So with that, I think that's where we're going to end it. You can always leave us a review. We really appreciate it. Spotify, iTunes, where else? Wherever else you listen, any major player, we're there.
Don't forget the top 6 things that you should put into it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you're going to leave us a review, what was the problem you had before you came to listen? Oh, my God, that'd be amazing. And then they take selfies of like, here's where I'm listening and put that in there. That'd be awesome.
Oh, put the selfies where you're listening.
Yeah. Look, I know most of these podcast review sites can't do the selfie or whatever, but if you want to go to our website, contact us and send us a selfie of where you're listening, we would love that. That would be so cool just to see where people are listening and what's going on. So, do that. And check us out. Whatthebiz.com is where you can get in contact with us. And with that, we'll see you on the next one.